let me ask you something. Why is it that when a woman walks into a room wearing a black dress, everything stops, people notice, men can't seem to look away? It's not just about fashion, it's about psychology, perception, and power. Today, I'm going to break down why this single choice, a black dress, creates such an undeniable impact, and what it reveals about influence, attraction, and human behavior. Black has always carried a unique symbolism that transcends culture, time, and trends. When we talk about the color black, it isn't just about a shade in the spectrum. It's about what that shade communicates to the human mind and how it shapes the way others perceive us. For centuries, black has been tied to ideas of power, authority, and mystery. Think about the figures we look to when we imagine influence and control. World leaders in their crisp black suits, judges in their long black robes, and the most iconic style figures in their simple yet commanding black attire. There is a reason why black has remained a staple throughout history. It sends an immediate, nonverbal message that is hard to ignore, a message that says, I am in charge, I know who I am, and I don't need to explain myself. That level of silent authority is why men, and really people in general, respond so strongly to it. When a woman steps into a room wearing a black dress, she embodies all of these associations at once. She doesn't have to speak a word because the color does the work for her. It draws people in without revealing too much, sparking curiosity while commanding respect. That duality of allure and intimidation is what makes black so powerful. It creates a balance between attraction and authority, a rare combination that leaves a lasting impression. Black communicates that she cannot be easily defined, and the human mind is hardwired to be intrigued by what it cannot immediately understand. Men, in particular, are drawn to that mystery because it challenges them. It's not about what's given away, but what's left unsaid. The power of black also comes from its neutrality. It doesn't distract with loudness or demand attention through color. Instead, it absorbs light, creating a visual presence that feels solid and grounded. That groundedness translates into psychological strength. A black dress doesn't need embellishments or excessive detail to make an impact. Its simplicity becomes its sophistication, and in that simplicity lies a form of dominance. It tells the world that she doesn't need external validation. She doesn't need to scream for attention because her presence alone is enough. This is where the association with confidence becomes unavoidable. Confidence is magnetic, and black is its visual counterpart. Another reason black carries so much power is that it has always been tied to formality and significance. Black tie events, black cars for dignitaries, black uniforms for elite professions. It has been coded into our culture as the color of seriousness, professionalism, and prestige. When a woman wears black, she unconsciously taps into this same cultural narrative. Men pick up on it, often without even realizing why. They perceive her as more refined, more disciplined, more in control. That control, paired with the natural allure that black offers, creates a potent effect. It is not just about being attractive, it is about being unforgettable. What makes this even more fascinating is that black has an element of paradox. On one hand, it represents strength and dominance. On the other, it has always symbolized mystery and the unknown. The unknown is powerful because it invites speculation. It makes people want to look closer, to figure out the story behind the surface. A woman in a black dress is often remembered not because she revealed everything, but because she revealed just enough to spark curiosity while leaving the rest to the imagination. This is where black transcends fashion and becomes psychological influence. It's not about fabric, it's about perception, and perception creates reality. The impact of black lies in the way it creates instant contrast and captures attention without effort. Human beings are wired to notice difference, to pick up on sharp distinctions that stand out in their environment. Black, being the deepest and most absorbing of colors, naturally sets itself apart against nearly any background. When someone wears black, particularly in the form of a sleek dress, they immediately command focus simply because the eye is drawn to the contrast. It isn't about shouting for attention, but about mastering subtle dominance. A black dress stands out precisely because it is understated yet visually striking, creating an impression that lingers long after the moment has passed. This visual impact has a lot to do with how the human brain processes color. Brighter colors can feel playful, energetic, or casual, but black demands a different kind of response. It creates a strong silhouette, one that sharpens the outline of the body and highlights form in a clean, powerful way. Instead of getting lost in patterns or competing shades, the simplicity of black frames the person within it. This framing effect ensures that the person, not the clothing, becomes the focal point. The dress becomes less of a statement about itself and more of a vehicle to magnify the presence of the one wearing it. That's why people often remember the woman in the black dress, not just the dress itself. Contrast also works on a psychological level. Black triggers associations with depth and seriousness, which naturally contrasts with the everyday flow of casual colors around us. Picture a room full of people in softer shades, light blues or warm neutrals, and then imagine a single person stepping in wearing black. The visual interruption created by that choice forces the mind to shift focus, to take notice, to question. That questioning is what creates intrigue. Men, in particular, are drawn to this contrast because it represents more than color. It symbolizes a kind of defiance, a refusal to blend in with the crowd. It signals that the woman in black is set apart, and that distinction makes her more memorable. The reason black is so effective at generating contrast is because it absorbs rather than reflects light. This quality gives it a depth and intensity that other colors cannot achieve. It creates shadows, shapes, and edges that sharpen the figure of the wearer. That sharpness feels deliberate, intentional, and controlled. It suggests that nothing about the look is accidental. This is important because intention communicates purpose, and purpose is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can embody. People are instinctively drawn to those who appear certain about who they are and how they present themselves. A black dress doesn't fade into the background, it tells the world that its wearer is here to be seen. What makes the visual contrast of black even more compelling is its universality. No matter the setting, culture, or time period, black always has the ability to command attention. From royal courts to modern fashion runways, the color has been used to distinguish the powerful from the ordinary. That legacy has not faded, which is why the effect is still as strong today as it was centuries ago. Men may not consciously analyze why black has such an impact, but they feel it. They respond to the way it frames the figure, elevates the presence, and demands attention without seeming desperate for it. This is the power of contrast, subtle, silent, and impossible to resist. A black dress has the rare ability to communicate confidence and control without a single word being spoken. Confidence is one of the most magnetic human traits, and it is often expressed not in what someone says, but in how they present themselves. When a woman chooses black, she is signaling a kind of self-assuredness that doesn't need to rely on bright colors or extravagant patterns to be noticed. She knows that less can be more, and that her presence alone is enough to command attention. That unspoken certainty is what draws people in, because confidence creates trust, intrigue, and respect all at once. The psychology of color plays a key role in this. Black has long been linked with authority and influence, and when someone wears it, those associations transfer to them. A woman in black naturally appears more in control, not only of her appearance but of the space she occupies. She doesn't blend into the background. She takes ownership of the room simply by being in it. This sense of control is subtle yet unmistakable. It tells others that she is not trying to impress, but rather expressing who she already is, someone who doesn't need permission to take up space. That kind of presence communicates strength, which men find both intimidating and captivating. Control also comes from the restraint that black represents. Instead of showcasing everything, it withholds. It conceals as much as it reveals, and that act of concealment is a form of power. In a world where so much is loud, flashy, and overly exposed, black creates intrigue through restraint. It says, I don't need to show everything to be seen. This balance of subtlety and boldness communicates mastery over one's image, and that mastery is what people equate with true confidence. It's not the kind of confidence that screams for validation, it's the quiet kind that cannot be shaken. The cut of a black dress may change, but the color itself always reinforces this psychological message. Whether it's a simple silhouette or something more elaborate, black grounds the look, making it seem intentional and deliberate. This deliberateness is essential because it conveys discipline. People perceive discipline as a form of self-control, and self-control is deeply attractive because it suggests reliability and strength. Men are wired to respond to signs of stability, and when a woman carries herself in black, she radiates a kind of emotional steadiness that sets her apart. She appears unflappable, composed, and untouchable by chaos. That aura creates both admiration and desire. There's also a cultural dimension to the confidence tied to black. In almost every professional or ceremonial context, black is the default color of authority. Business executives, military leaders, and judges often wear black because it symbolizes neutrality and strength. When a woman embraces the same color in her attire, she taps into that cultural symbolism, borrowing the authority and dignity it carries. Men recognize this association, even unconsciously, and perceive her as someone who cannot easily be swayed. This perception reinforces the idea that she is in control of not only her choices, but also the narrative others create about her. What makes black so compelling is that the confidence it conveys doesn't feel forced. It feels natural, as though it comes from within. The woman doesn't need to say, I'm confident. She shows it through the simplicity of her choice. That quiet assurance is often more powerful than bold declarations because it leaves no room for doubt. Confidence, after all, isn't about proving yourself, it's about owning who you are. A black dress embodies that truth in a way that few other things can. It is an outward reflection of inner certainty, and that certainty is what makes it unforgettable. Men are naturally drawn to signals of allure and sophistication, and black has a way of embodying both at the same time. It's not just a color choice, it's a psychological trigger that taps into centuries of cultural associations and primal instincts. When a woman wears black, she sends a message that is instantly recognizable, even if it's not consciously understood. Men respond to that message almost automatically because black communicates refinement while also carrying an undercurrent of sensual mystery. It is this rare blend of elegance and temptation that makes it so irresistible. The allure comes from the way black creates intrigue. Unlike brighter colors, which tend to reveal everything up front, black holds something back. It conceals, it shields, and it leaves space for the imagination. This act of not giving everything away is what draws men in. The human mind is wired to pursue what it doesn't fully understand, and when a woman in black leaves part of the story untold, it fuels curiosity. That curiosity is powerful because it transforms a simple outfit into something that feels magnetic. Men want to know more, they want to look longer, they want to understand what's beneath the surface, and that chase is part of what creates attraction. At the same time, black elevates sophistication. It's a color that has always been tied to formality, elegance, and timeless style. Think of black, tie events, luxury cars, or the most iconic fashion pieces ever designed. Black dominates those spaces because it has an innate ability to signal class. When a woman wears a black dress, she connects herself to that narrative of sophistication. She appears polished, composed, and above the ordinary. This is not the kind of allure that comes from trying too hard. It's the allure of someone who doesn't need to prove her worth. That quiet elegance creates a form of attraction that is deeper than surface-level appeal because it suggests intelligence, discernment, and a sense of self, men also subconsciously connect black with sensuality. The color itself has been used throughout history in literature, art, and film to represent desire and intensity. It's the color of candlelit rooms, smoky evenings, and moments of intimacy. Without being explicit, black evokes those associations. When worn in the form of a dress, it strikes the perfect balance between subtlety and suggestion. It is neither too revealing nor too conservative, but it creates a frame that highlights the figure in a way that feels both dignified and alluring. That balance is rare, and it explains why men find it so compelling. They are captivated not just by what they see, but by what they feel when they see it. There's also a universal quality to black that heightens this response. No matter where in the world or in what era, black has always carried the same aura of allure. It doesn't go out of style, it doesn't feel dated, and it doesn't lose its impact. This timelessness makes it reliable, and reliability itself can feel attractive because it communicates stability and strength. Men recognize that a woman in black is presenting herself with intention, and that intentionality reads as sophistication. She isn't wearing something loud or fleeting, she's wearing something that has stood the test of time. What ultimately makes black so magnetic is the way it fuses opposites. It's simple but striking, modest but sensual, timeless but modern. That fusion mirrors the complexity of human attraction itself. Men are not just responding to the color, they are responding to the emotions and instincts that the color awakens within them. Black becomes more than fabric. It becomes a statement of allure wrapped in sophistication, a signal that the woman wearing it is both desirable and untouchable. That paradox is why men can't resist, and why the impact of a black dress lingers long after the moment has passed. The simplicity of black is what makes it so powerful, because it shifts attention away from unnecessary distractions and amplifies presence in its purest form. In a world that often glorifies excess bright colors, bold prints, heavy embellishments, black strips everything down to its essence. It eliminates the noise so that what remains is the individual herself. When a woman wears a black dress, she isn't hiding behind decoration or overstated detail. She is stepping forward with clarity, saying without words that she is enough as she is. That kind of simplicity doesn't diminish her, it magnifies her. Men respond to that because it creates a kind of visual and psychological clarity that is both refreshing and compelling. Black allows the eye to focus not on the garment, but on the person within it. This is a unique quality that few colors can achieve. Brighter shades often compete with the wearer for attention, but black acts as a frame, ensuring that the woman's expressions, her movements, and her energy become the true focal point. It's the difference between looking at clothes and noticing presence. The absence of distraction is what allows presence to expand, filling the space in a way that is unmistakable. When presence is amplified like this, it becomes difficult to ignore. That is why black has endured as a timeless choice in fashion, because it understands the principle that less really is more. The simplicity of black also communicates restraint, and restraint itself is a form of power. It shows that the woman doesn't feel the need to overcompensate or embellish in order to be seen. She knows her worth, and her choice of simplicity reflects that confidence. Men often find this restraint deeply attractive because it suggests maturity and self-assurance. It demonstrates that she values substance over flash, and that kind of value system resonates as strength. Simplicity becomes not just an aesthetic choice but a reflection of inner character, one that makes her presence all the more impactful. Another dimension of black's simplicity is its ability to transcend trends. While other colors and styles may come and go, black remains untouched by time. Its simplicity gives it a kind of permanence, a quiet authority that suggests stability and timelessness. When a woman embraces this, she aligns herself with that same sense of permanence. Men often interpret this as a sign of depth and reliability, qualities that go beyond surface-level attraction. Simplicity here becomes a marker of sophistication because it shows that she doesn't chase what's temporary. She embodies what is lasting. The absence of distraction in black also enhances the subtle signals that truly define presence. Body language, tone of voice, eye contact, these are the elements that people remember, and black gives them the space to shine. By removing the clutter of loud fashion, black creates a kind of spotlight effect, ensuring that the essence of the woman herself is what captivates. Men pick up on these subtle cues, often without realizing it, and they become more attuned to the person rather than just the outfit. This is why a woman in black often feels unforgettable, because she isn't remembered for what she wore, but for how she carried herself. Ultimately, simplicity is not the absence of impact, but the intensification of it. Black demonstrates this truth by proving that you don't need to add more in order to be more. The color amplifies presence by stripping away distractions and allowing authenticity to stand in its purest form. This is where its true power lies. Men aren't drawn to the dress alone. They are drawn to the amplified presence it creates, the way it lets the woman command attention without asking for it. That simplicity becomes unforgettable because it feels effortless, natural, and entirely real.